York. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
You're not happy?
No.
Really?
Yeah, that's bad.
Well, why? Yeah, why not? I thought you.
How and why?
I think that I let the external circumstances affect me so much that I forget to value and enjoy, seize the moment. And that's a work in progress for me. I think throughout my life, I just haven't taken the moment to
What are the external circumstances, though?
everything, like where I want to be health-wise, where I want to be success-wise, where I want Earth to be, that kind of stuff.
So let's start with. Well, you said health first. Let's start health first.
Okay.
What's the health problem? What do you say?
You guys are getting real.
Well,
like,
you brought it up. I
I've
didn't
never been
know.
to Hot 97 where you guys get in so deep.
Is it working out? Is it weight loss? Is it?
Is it mental health? What
Is
is
it
it?
mental
Yeah.
health?
Okay. Wow, you guys really know me. You guys are kind of like reading me right now. What's going on here? Okay, so mental health is very, it's a priority. How not to be depressed, how not to be anxious, everything is how not to. And what I'm learning is how to, and just go through it and find positive reinforcements, which is something that we lose along the way because we get caught up with so many external things. Example, I want to look a certain way. I want to look a certain way. I want to look a certain way. And then I realize, well, it doesn't matter how you look because ultimately you don't love yourself enough to even accept yourself or where you're at. And that it's okay to enjoy the progress, the process. You know what I mean?
So mentally, is your number one thing anxiousness or depression or both?
Both.
So you're naturally depressive.
I am.
And
I'm
always
like
have been.
super. I'm like the party starter, but like once I'm within me, it's like I start picking out what's
Things to be upset about.
Yeah.
Can I ask you? You're from the hood. Where are you from?
Brooklyn.
What part?
Well, I grew up like Sunset Park and then Flatbush.
And you have your family, and you've been on the program, and you've talked about how hard you worked and this opportunity that came because of Orange is the New Black. A lot of times we reflect on our family and where we grew up in a positive way because it is our family and it is where we grew up. But when you really start to dig into the ways we grew up, the foods we ate, the habits of our family and our family members, the things that were normal in our homes, et cetera, you start to uncover that it was a very unhealthy environment.
Yes.
And in me finding my happiness, right, which is always a work in progress, and the things that make you happy and where you want to be, you have to address that in an honest way, right? I love my dad. My dad was a piece of shit. But you have to be able to say that. Right? I love my mom. My mom could be an asshole too. It was very unloving, but I love my mom, right? But unloving and maybe in like the hugging, she wasn't that kind of mom. That just wasn't who she was. She was from a poor Jewish family and grew up in an orphanage. So I think a lot of times when we're on this journey to find happiness, we don't address the beginning of the story and how things may have been fucked up in the beginning, which once you let that piece go, it is so much easier.
And you figured this out without therapy.
I know.
Well, you guys with therapy and talk. I talk all the
Yes,
time.
we've dealt with a lot of it. I think growth and experience helps that.
Yeah. If you're willing to accept that there was some bullshit, like there was and I think a lot of people aren't willing to do that. They're not willing to look at their parents and go, "Yo, I love you guys, but y'all was trying to do the best you could, and guess what? I'm alive."
Right. You didn't completely fuck
You didn't
it.
completely fuck up. I didn't go to jail, right? I have a good, you got to be able to say these things, but then say, yo, but those Fruit Loops you was feeding me every morning and the fucking drunk arguing y'all was doing every night and the beatings and the street we lived on and, my uncle who's a fucking scumbag and this one, like all of that is bad shit. Like you got to be able to, how are you doing with that?
Well, as far as my experience growing up, it's not so stereotypical like people think it should be. I rarely ate Fruit Loops, if that was the case. My mom was very stern with, like, healthiness in the house, like broccoli, liver, mashed potatoes, plátanos, like, Dominican stuff. But for the most part, I think that I am in a stage where I know where my father, the person he was, and what my mom and what she was. And so I can accept that. For me, is more so as an adult now, the choices that I have made along the way, resisting the guidance that was given to me for whatever reason, there was consequences to that. And so that affected me and affects me now, where I'm like, it's okay for you to even fuck up. The problem is, when you fuck up, are you going to sit there? And it's okay to do that too. The problem is when we think that because you're doing that, you're not worth anything. For me, regardless if I have a day that I feel down or I'm not up for it, it's okay. It's getting up from that point and saying, how am I going to deflect what I'm feeling and reflect it in such a way that makes me grow as a person? That it's okay to go through that. It's okay to one day you want to cry, go ahead, you cry. But then the next day, don't become that. What I do is what I do. Who I am is totally different from that.
Do you find it like surprising? I guess a lot of people would find it surprising that someone who's done as well as you've done, just like 5, 6, 7 years ago, you're a regular person trying to make it.
Which I did well.
And you did really well.
And that's my thing. I was successful before this.
But you were
in the health field. Because for me, getting 2 degrees, being a single mother, working in the health field, being a manager.
Victory.
Yes. That's success.
And so do you feel more stressed now than you did then?
No, I think it's a different type of, when you have a taste of something that you love and you have to keep up with it and you know that it's out of your control now. I could go to the health field, get a job, get a degree, and be a manager or whatever it is. But here, the circumstances are different. The opportunities that you can't control. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's what does that scare you?
Yeah.
Does that give you anxiety that you're waiting for the phone to ring and you're auditioning and not getting the job?
Yeah, and I think every actor goes through that, where that's something you can't control. You have to accept that and grow with it, or create, from a business point, you have to create what will make you stay relevant or keep this trajectory the way you want it to go. And I think control is something that we all want to have. And learning at the point in your life where you're like, you're actually not in control of your life. You kind of are.
I mean, you're in control of some things.
I mean, the choices. You're in control of your choices, but ultimately, how many of us have made the right choice and it doesn't work out? And how many of us have made the wrong choice and
it does work out, yeah.
Are you impacted by social media a lot? Like, do you ever struggle with the, because you're very active on social and you've got a ton of followers, but I think what some people don't realize is that even people who are doing well have a tendency to scroll through social media, and I think we're all affected by seeing what other people are doing.
Because it's so superficial now, right?
Exactly.
And I have a problem with that. I have a problem with superficiality, even though we all have that. I'm so internal, and I see robots. I just see everything the same. There's no for me to create, to use my imagination. Like when I was growing up, I think that I grew up in the best era where we got the tailspin of when, before all this hit. So it was all about like creating and interacting with people and, using your imagination. And if you sketch something, I'm just thinking artistically, it's like you have to really think, you have to experience. Now I feel like everything is fed. And if it's not that way, then it's not the right way.
Yeah, I see it both ways. I think it depends on who you follow. And social media will affect you depending on who you associate with.
To me, it's not about who you follow. It's that it's fed to you, regardless if you follow or not. And it's what people glorify.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But if you unfollow, like in my IG feed, if I ain't following people that ain't promoting bullshit, I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing what I want to see.
I don't follow people that don't feed me. I have a lot of people that, but it's not only social media.
Oh, okay. You're talking about outside that.
It's everything else. Yeah. The opportunities become greater for those that, fit the mold.
Well, there is that too, right? And we talk about it a lot. Like there's a lot of artists, right, who have created their own businesses and their own path, have nothing to do with radio, right? They don't care if radio plays the records. They're not trying to fit into this radio box and sound. And I find myself liking those artists sometimes more than I like the ones that we play on the radio. And then there's artists like we take like a Kendrick Lamar who just gonna make what he's gonna make and go on his
Great.
tours and do what he does. And
Love
then
his
when
stuff.
radio finally catches up, they're gonna play it. You see what I'm saying? Like, and so I think that's a part of it too, is that yes, you can get caught up trying to be a part of the mainstream culture and be, you know,
And that's okay.
yeah.
But, and I don't want it to be like, oh, this affects me to the extent where I'm like, listen, I log off. And I'm like, I want to live. I don't have to be on my phone. I want to live. I want to see I want to smell. I want to taste. I want to live. I don't have to. It's also part of my job. And when it becomes part of your job, then it's like, I'm just working.
Well, you mentioned earlier struggling, okay, because we all do. We all want to look a certain way, feel a certain way, right? And usually, like, you've become this, like, this person that a lot of women champion, and men too champion, as, like, you're a person that really embraces her curves and they celebrate you, right? But then it's like, and I've been at, we're friends, so I've been on your social media, and then I see people who come and will attack you in a certain way. So, and now that I hear you talking about it, because we never really talk about this, and I see you at the gym, and we're always trying to make ourselves feel better or look a certain way. I see how, the type, because I've seen, besides Orange is the New Black, you're doing movies, you've done Joy, you've done The Perfect Match, and, you're working with Robert De Niro, you're doing all these things. How do you feel like, because you talk about accepting yourself for who you are, right? As opposed to fit in that mold. Like, do you have days where you wake up and you're like, I'm cool, I'm chilling, I'm happy with who I am? Or like, damn, I probably shouldn't have worn that, I'm getting torn up today.
You get tore up regardless. And this is what people don't understand, that whether I would have been an actress or whether I would have been in the hospital, I still would have worn like a bodysuit with a jacket, because that's just who I am. You know what I mean? For me, it takes a moment. It's not about the moment, it's how I feel. And it's the up and down, and it's the roller coaster. When people attack me, I could go back and forth with them. I have the capacity to do that, but I don't want to feed into that, because I'm already attacking myself with other things. You know what I mean? And then when I do things in the street, I was in LA recently, and I'm practicing batting. Just a quick example, I go to a rice bowl place, and I order rice bowl and a miso soup because I didn't know which one I was going to like. Indecisiveness. And I'm like, why did I order two? Like, that's fucking greedy. Can I curse? Oh my God, I just cursed.
Well, it happened already.
Okay, whatever. So I enjoyed the rice bowl. I ate the rice bowl. And then I'm like, I see somebody that's outside with a dog. And I'm like, I don't know, people are icky about that, but I'm that way. And I'm like, listen, you want food? And the guy's like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. So I give him the food. I would have done it. I don't care who it is. That's just how I am. And for him to tell me, oh my God, I'm so hungry, you saved my life. And I'm like, yo, and I'm complaining like about how I'm not where I want to be. And people just want to eat. And those are the things that we take for granted because we get caught up in all this nonsense. And that's the moment where I'm like, you're just so ungrateful.
But and that's where I do
That's
think
normal,
social media.
though.
But I do think social media makes that worse though, because we have a tendency. I was talking to someone at ESPN the other day. We just had a meeting, just a quick drink to chat. I think he's doing really well. We were talking about someone else who's definitely doing really well, and he was like, "Yo, so crazy. He like this person always like looks up and is like, they don't promote me enough here." And I'm like, they don't promote him enough. I was like, he's the face of ESPN. Now, meanwhile, I've had my moments where I complain that I'm like, oh, they're not pushing me enough, blah, blah. And other people are like, bro, I'm on Hot, I'm on ESPN, I'm living my dreams. And I'm like, but why don't they promote me enough? And then you find out the person above you feels the same way. And I just wonder how much we're all impacted by this constant viewing of what other people are doing. So it's hard to see how well you're doing.
It's hard to see what's really happening. Because I'll post a picture when I post crazy pictures like when I'm sweaty and I'm like, oh God, I'm.
Well, here's a good thing. You still smell good. The hashtag is still I smell good. So
That
either
too.
way,
My
either
sweat
way,
smells delicious.
Either way.
And by the way, she does actually
Smell really good.
She does smell good.
Amazing.
So
I do? Thank you.
It's factual. Because it would
Do you not smell well?
I smell very well.
No, I mean like your nose. Like you can't.
Your body gets used to your pheromones and your scent, so you don't
You don't smell yourself.
Exactly. But
You don't.
No, I
I
do.
do.
No. I mean that, of course. If you like rub yourself in certain places, scratch and
I'll be
sniff.
like,
Of
yeah.
course, those are the
Take a
soap
shot.
checks.
Scratch and
You guys do it all the time,
All the
honey.
time.
That's why I'm like,
Gotta
wait,
check,
let me make
check,
sure.
that.
Because when you do the little oil check, baby, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna get a little surprise.
So the new season of Orange is the New Black. You guys get into prison riots. I'm
Taking
told-
over the jail.
Taking over the
But it
jail.
all stems from one of the inmates getting killed by a CO. Like he's like grabbing her up and basically suffocates her, puts her like in some weird chokehold, and she dies.
We've seen this before.
And then, it's all about the injustices and like all the craziness and the abuse that these women are going through. And they basically started rioting demands of change. They want to be able to get quality education. Well, not quality, decent education, decent food, decent treatments. So that's really the
Human
basis.
rights,
Yeah, that's
basically.
really the basis of the season.
And Laura, I have to apologize. I haven't watched it. In a
It's
couple
okay.
seasons. Okay, right? You're not gonna
It's
be mad. You're not
fine.
mad at me.
Why?
I mean, because I'm just
You think she expects every person?
who interviews her to watch the entire season.
I mean, yeah, it's 5 seasons now.
And this one just
No, I expect
just
for you to do
dropped
your
too.
research when you're talking to me. And know that
Facts.
you're talking to like Dasha and not like,
Well, he sometimes
somebody
I'll
else.
forget somebody's name.
About to say.
Oh, he's
I
good
forget
for that.
everybody's name.
No, I'll
No.
be interviewing somebody and be like, "What's your name again?"
Yeah, he's good
No,
for
no,
that.
He'll do it in the intro. He'll go, ladies and gentlemen, Ebro in the morning. We have.
A guest.
I'll go introduce yourself.
Yo, it's so bad.
Why?
bro.
I do that too, though.
I know, but not on your show. Yeah, not if you're
Supposed to
hosting
be
a
a
show.
professional.
Yeah, that's
But honestly, look, just full disclosure. A, I forget. B, sometimes there's people we're interviewing and it's like I'm still learning about you. Like there's not a lot of things out there for me to know you. Like it's your first
I
interview
agree.
sometimes, or you've been in one. You're like one co-host on a one season or one episode of a thing, and we'll bring you up to give you a platform. And I just don't know your name. That's all. So
But in this case, you should feel very good because we
You
absolutely
know
know
my
everything
name,
about
bro?
you.
it's is it Dasha or Dasha?
my 11th grade algebra teacher used to call me Dasha in Miami.
Dasha.
Would you correct her?
No, I don't get like.
I was gonna say, do you ever? I very often get called Ebro on the street, and it's very irritating because in one sense I want to be like, well, thank you for knowing what I do,
That's right.
but at the same time I can't really be like, yo, thanks, bro, and I don't feel like correcting you. Do you ever have a thing where like? Because these days there's so many forms of entertainment that Orange is the New Black is huge, but there are people who see you, but they just can't quite put who you are.
Yeah.
So it
Everybody
ends up
thinks
almost
I'm
being
there.
You're
irritating.
on that show. I seen you
No,
on that show.
no, they usually. This is what I get. You're the medical assistant in my doctor's office.
No,
So
they
fun.
don't.
Yeah, all the
No.
time.
And you're like, I could have
all
been.
the time. I'm like,
I wouldn't have been an assistant.
it makes sense. I get you play in that show. I get. Were you ever? You were on the reality? No, I'm not on a reality TV show. I get all time. Do you know? I get names like, oh, we went to high school together. And meanwhile, they're like 15 years older than me.
Right. You're like, no, we didn't.
No,
And by the way,
I know for a fact we didn't.
I find that this happens to people of really. I had the conversation with Amber the other day. I was like, well, Amber, you're bald, so like people probably don't mess it up. Like you could only be Amber Rose. She's like, no, because if people aren't that familiar, they just see her on TMZ or whatever. They're like, you had sex with like look, people say crazy
Yeah.
shit to people.
Yeah.
And
I don't
like,
get that, but
you ever gotten that one? Well, speaking
No.
of which,
Who you want to have sex with?
Yeah,
And
good
set it up.
segue.
And then we
Oh,
could
God,
throw it
I've
on
been waiting for
TMZ
this.
and then boom. You said people aren't attracted to you. I know people for sure
look,
want to
I
have
know,
sex
but I
with you.
mean, like,
who do you want?
Who do I
There's
want?
someone you want who it doesn't want it back. Is that what you're saying?
no.
You threw
no.
it to
I mean,
somebody
if
and they
if
was
I
like-
could throw it to people, people would take it. It's not about that.
But you don't want to throw it. You want them to come chase it.
I like a chase.
Right.
I love
You
a
want to
chase.
run. Stop.
Not really. It depends on the day.
Well, who's
Depends on how
your
you
type?
feel.
Tell someone who's your type.
I need somebody intelligent.
Okay.
I need an athlete.
Okay. Hold on. What do you mean you need
Wait,
an
professional athlete or just somebody who
No,
works
something
out?
athletic.
Okay.
athlete?
somebody
Why
that's
do
into-
you?
Clear about that now
Because I'm
Yeah.
a sports, like, I
No,
love
I'm just
sports.
saying. You said I need an athlete.
Yeah.
Like
It-
people
but
are gonna
I
take
never-
that as a profession,
Right,
like somebody
right,
who
right.
does that.
Oh, well,
see what I'm
anybody
saying?
that plays
I
sports.
like an athletic person.
Athletic person. But athletes are...
Accepted.
Get it out. Here it goes. Dascha wants an athlete. What else?
Intelligent, athletic.
Arts, like into the arts.
Cultural.
Creative- Cultural.
This
Yes.
is getting tough already, by the way.
Why? I'm that.
And you like somebody with a good sense of humor.
Oh my God, somebody that can make me laugh.
All right, I'll just be honest. This isn't gonna happen.
Why? Usually it's the money part that's hard.
No,
You
money
don't get
part's-
people with money.
Here's where it's hard. You're asking for athletic.
Time out.
What?
You,
I
that
missed the
face
hard.
you just made about
the
the
hard?
Because, nowadays it's like, there's, whatever. I don't even want to get into it because I have so many opinions and then I get, no.
But you want
I'm
someone
good.
with money too.
No, I don't need somebody with money. I need somebody that's about go getting it. Hustle.
And
to
often
your-
that is money as well.
I mean, that's what comes with it, no?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
I
you don't necessarily want somebody who's rich, as long as they're focused on their whatever their career is and they're working hard towards
I'm
it. And
connecting the energies. I don't even know what the hell I want. It doesn't matter. I'm like, give me anything. Anything!
I just know, but see, did you hear? Did you see
no,
how far
you're
away?
lying. You're lying.
I am lying. I am lying.
Athletic and intelligent don't always go together.
Why?
Athletic and funny
hang
don't
on,
necessarily
hang
go
on.
together.
Intelligence is relative. Let's be
How intelligent do you want?
Because you can ask anybody, do you find yourself intelligent? And I mean literally anybody.
Oh yeah.
somebody-
We could go ask Juanito right
How
now.
dare you?
Oh, it's so
Juanito, do you
disrespectful.
find yourself intelligent? And he would say, sure, yes.
Well, Juanito is intelligent.
Relative to
Bear.
I think you're intelligent.
I would not disrespect Bear.
Stop.
intelligence is relative.
Maybe it's
I'm
assertive.
intelligent
Maybe what
at
I'm
Hot
looking for is
97.
assertive. Maybe I'm looking for assertive.
Well, that's different.
So you want someone who's dumb but really confident about it.
Well, it's not.
Or,
Yeah, I'm looking for somebody I can manipulate and does whatever I want them to do.
Oh, I just got a
and they
text from
will, and
Juanito.
they will be passionate about it.
Yeah.
And go get it.
Yes.
Whether it's the vagine or whatever you need them to go get, they want it.
Yeah.
That's
to
what
be
it's
parallel.
But intelligence is relative. Like, I'm intelligent here. You put me in other environments with people who...
But look, a friend read a book. I'm gonna find out the name and I'm gonna let you know what it is. It's not what you know, it's what you ask.
Facts.
And sometimes I feel like because I'm not a theater kid or because I didn't go to like a film school, when I have these conversations among directors and producers and actors that they're talking about movies like that I have no idea about, classics that I feel so dumb. I'm like, oh my God, I have to go watch. I have to go read the script. Or I have to, And then I'm like, no, you know what? Be proud of who you are and ask the right questions. Who did that? Oh, who's the actor? Oh, okay. You tell me about that.
You know who I learned that from?
From who?
Cypher Sounds. Cypher's the king of we're in an interview, or even to me, when he barely even respected me at the time, I would reference some shit from my white suburban world, and Cypher's just the first one. I'm like, what's that? I don't know what that is. Who is that? And I'm like, and you can't help but be a douchebag sometimes. It'll be
hate
like,
Half of the time they can't even.
but
answer.
no,
I
but
hate
hold on,
that.
hold on.
I hate
No,
that.
but
I
we
hate
all
that.
do it. You might not do it with laughing out loud, but if we
They'd
said,
be like, yo, you never seen
you never
that
heard a Kanye
before?
album? You never heard of Kanye? Never heard of Kanye? Someone could say, no, I've never heard a Kanye album. And I respect it is hard sometimes when you're in someone's world to just look at them and be like, I don't know what that is. But that is the ultimate
But
sign of
if you ask
intelligence.
me about novelas
You'll know everything.
and what shows were what, growing up, that's what was in my
But
background.
that's why I said intelligence is relative.
it is.
So do you only want someone who knows the characters and like The Guiding Light and Young and the Restless?
No.
Spanish novellas only.
Spanish novelas.
Got it.
Victorino.
That's a good impression. We should do novela. Go.
All right.
Act it out.
My Spanish sucks, though.
This doesn't matter.
doesn't
you,
matter.
You lead with the Spanish. She'll
Just,
just
okay,
follow.
so or
¿Cómo
maybe
te
just
atreves?
What does that mean?
Just
How dare you.
play. You have to just
How
play.
dare you.
Oh, forget it.
I tried everything. I tried everything to
No,
please you.
no, eres un estúpido. ¿Cómo te atreves?
I'll
Te
do
dije que
anything for you.
no lo harás.
Why do you talk to me this way?
Porque no sirves.
Mom! She doesn't love me. It's
Llama a
always
tu
somebody's mom, right? The men always run to
Now
their
you be
mothers.
mom. Now you be mom.
You gotta be
Laura.
mom. Mi madre.
No seas desgraciado. ¿Cómo la vas a tratar así? Esta mujer es lindísima. Necesito que sea parte de mi familia.
Don't speak of her that way.
We're actually defending her
He's
cooking
defending
here.
her.
Sorry.
And then you're the husband.
Okay.
Go.
Excuse me. Yo necesito hablar contigo. Tú-
Oh,
I was fucking your wife. Shut up.
¿Cómo te atreves? ¿Tuviste relaciones con mi mamá?
Mi esposa.
Mamá, eres un engañador.
Mi amor.
¿Qué
¿Por
está
qué?
pasando?
¿Por
¿Qué
qué?
está pasando
Ese-
aquí? Tú eres mi
Animales.
papá. Tú eres mi papá. You're him. No.
Oh, man. Dios mío. What an episode. What a show.
On tip, one on one.
That was good. good.
Oh, God.
And wait, so I
Yeah.
was fucking your wife, which is
I
actually
didn't
Laura
know. I just
Stough's
call
Yeah.
them
wife.
good animals. The only
I
word I
was
can come up
about-
with. I'm sorry. I didn't
And
know.
that's my dad.
Oh,
Great.
God.
Got it.
It gets like that
So I
sometimes
was
in
fucking
Spanish
both of you. That's
novelas.
pretty good. That's accurate.
Yo.
Accurate.
Oh, great.
Accurate.
Oh, God.
Dascha Polanco, friend of the show. Dascha, we was talking about sex
Yes.
when you walked in the room. And
Was I or was I really?
I don't even know how I
Well,
got there.
You said you were in a batting cage. We said, were you cuddling up on someone? You were like, oh, I might like to. And then we were like, who? And you said, no, and they don't want to fuck me and something like that.
And then you think no one's attracted to you. What does a man need to do to get your attention?
Dick pic.
Because they probably would love
You know what? Those make me laugh. Because
Laura,
I
Laura
like
too.
to,
Laura saves them with her friends.
I
Well, not
like-
anymore.
I
I
like
used
to
to.
look at. I like to look at like
Random dicks.
yeah, you know, just to
Just
see
to measure up and see what's weird and
what's like. Oh my god. You
Send
know,
it to your friends. You guys laugh
like,
about
look
it.
at this. You know, circ,
discuss.
not circ. You know, crooked, not crooked. I'm not offending anybody. I'm not saying which one is better.
You're not anti-crooked.
C, the
You're not
hook.
dick shaming.
You know what I mean? Not at
I'm
all.
gonna start that.
That
I
dick
think men need to stand up for themselves.
No dick shaming.
No man has ever jumped out like, yo, you're shaming my dick. Like dick shaming. Like I think, because we hear every other type of shame, right? We hear all the types of shames, right? You can't fat shame. You can't this shame, slut
You
shame.
can't shame nothing.
And let's be honest, having a straight up like small dick is like kind of the worst affliction you could have in society. Because you know at a pretty young age, like this isn't really
And that's
acceptable by
why.
anyone.
Can I interrupt you? That's what I do. That's why
You go for
I
small dicks.
believe in no.
Okay.
But I believe that for me it's important to hashtag self-lovery and like this whole thing that I'm working on, like having the discussions where it's men and women in a room about their insecurity, because we only talk about the insecurities that women go through and not the insecurities that men go through. And I'm sure that men
Men would love that.
you know what I mean? Like it's about just speaking about insecurities.
And then men would hate it right after they loved it.
No,
Of course.
because
The man would
it's
be
talking
like,
about
shut your bitch ass up.
No, no,
That's what
because
you would do.
Yeah, you probably will.
Because
Men would do that.
it's hard for him. He wants to be emo and in touch, but then like, so here's what he has. He has one side that's like, Ebro, be sensitive, be the little bitch you are deep inside.
Yeah,
He's
which
got-
you all are when
I
you.
know, no, I
when
know.
you-
Right. And then he's got
When
the
you-
other side that's like, nah, you little bitch, stop acting like
Yo,
this.
man up, motherfucker. Shut up.
So that's what happens for a lot of men.
Wussification.
Yeah, you gotta stop being a pussy and get your life together. No, I just want to go home and cry all day. Man, shut up and run
Yes.
this fucking summer jam.
I have a big dick.
Nah, that's
Yes,
never
I
it. I've never said
know.
that.
My
I've
dick's
never
not
said
big enough. Man, your dick's fine. Chill. You be fucking these bitches.
Eat more pussy, you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's right. It's
Should've
hard for
played
men.
it valid.
We
That's funny.
struggle with these.
I'm sure you're doing it. You're balding.
Yeah.
If you're,
Were you talking to us specifically?
if you
'Cause
have,
I'm
if,
bald.
very
I'm not
He's
even
bald.
balding.
Yeah.
if you have
bald.
like
man boobs.
gyno, that
is that
gynomastia,
called?
gyno. It's called gyno.
That was something. I know. She's
I
trying to
know
find the
mastia.
same
The man boob,
I
man
can't
like
believe-
man boobs that are like. Well,
But it's like a high concentration of
estrogen.
estrogen
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
your breast area.
Well, you
your
gotta
chest
stop
area.
eating estrogen foods. Your man boobs will go away. You need
But
detox.
sometimes it's genetic. Sometimes it's
yeah,
genetic.
I was.
I know
re-
people that wear like Spanx to like, you
Slow
know,
it down.
man Spanx. to,
Man
like-
spanks, really?
because you know they are not as muscle-like in certain places, and I know it's important for men to have muscles or whatever, you know, whatever. But there's a lot of male insecurities that we don't talk about
Do some fucking push. No, I'm sorry.
because women
Do some
don't.
fucking push-ups,
because
man.
women accept.
Won't always work though.
And I'm not saying everyone, but for the most part, women tend to like accept and embrace the man how how they come.
I have a serious question. So, Dasha, because
Yeah.
when I was watching the season, I definitely went down a rabbit hole of like,
You guys got AC. Damn, I'm hot, and
It's-
I'm wearing a bodysuit.
wow.
Really?
Well, you got a
Yeah, but
sweatshirt
it's a
on.
Sweatshirt.
Yeah, but it's
96
cold.
degrees.
It's like I have a bodysuit with nothing on.
You ain't got no drawers on?
I got the bodysuit on.
She had to think for a second.
That's a headline.
So when I watched the season, and I'm a weirdo. I'll go down rabbit holes of different cases and like, you know, when I don't want to spoil the season, but I'm like, oh my God, I saw a case like that happened where a CEO was abusing this person in this city, and I remember that never got resolved. When you're reading your script, do you ever do any research on like all like certain cases just to kind of prepare you to put you in that mindset?
You know, honestly, Dayanara, when the show first came out, I think there was more research done because we didn't know what direction it was going. Where the show is, it's living in present times. And it's great that we're in parallel roads as far as like how the writers subliminally are writing so that we are
Reflecting what's happening.
exactly. And so what happened last season with Pusey was something that we were going through, and we're still going through.
Pusey's the inmate, by the way, that got choked out by a seal.
Yeah. So it's not that hard to like actually express the emotions. For Dayanara, it was the grief of losing her daughter, of giving up her daughter. What I do notice is that not the research, but the conversations that we're having about incarcerations, the documentaries that are coming about, the more topics that we're discussing, especially when it comes to women, let alone, of course, men, but we didn't have these discussions. Like now is when I'm noticing, let's talk about the women as far as like their mental health, giving birth in prisons, what's going on as far as the sentencing and so on. Transgender issues. All the topics that we're experiencing now, I think are coming more to light because of solely.
No, I will
Racism
say
Black.
that. I've definitely seen more conversations about that, especially the transgender issue, women that give birth in prisons. The other day I started watching this documentary about women in prison and about what they go through, how they give birth sometimes in shackles.
Yeah.
And then once they give birth, they can hold their baby for a certain amount of time and then they're gone. Or women who raise kids up to 6 years old in prison.
Do you have you watched 13th?
Yeah.
You have seen it?
As soon as it came out.
Yeah. The prison environment in America, America being a place of capitalism and cheap labor has always been a part of how America made so much money and became
They
the rich,
touched that too.
free and cheap. And it continues today. And now we have an administration in Trump and Attorney General Sessions and all these people who want to enact certain drug laws to make it hard on poor people and harder on people who are, breaking the law or whatever. But the sentencing is very strict to get more people back in these privately ran prisons so they can get back to this cheap labor and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
It's a business.
In your experience in shooting this, and obviously I haven't watched since probably season 2, but are you guys addressing that stuff as well about just kind of like, we have a prison culture in this country. Like we have a culture where it's like 1 in 5 people who are citizens in America either knows someone or has been in prison, right? Or arrested or in jail or something like that.
I think that we've addressed that in many occasions where we see some of the women that were there incarcerated and then come back in, repeat offenders, and how they don't know how to survive outside because they're not set up to succeed outside of that. And then, they do whatever they can to just get back in. And I know we know somebody that knows somebody or relatives of someone or have experiences ourselves where we don't know how to exist in society because all we're conditioned to know is the system. So the show has addressed that. It has addressed the fact that there's no help once you get out. It's not set to like reach out to anyone either. And if you're a woman,
and then even the money you owe when you get out, the bills, recidivism or whatever it is.
So and we should know we're not set up to succeed. It's always
No, in fact, you're set up to come back. That's the plan.
Yeah.
The plan is come back.
yeah.
In many communities, you're set up to fail,
So you come back.
so you can get this cheap labor popping.
And I love how people say like there's no
Oh, yeah.
it's like there's no conspiracy against people. People have the choices, but sometimes people that say that are in a situation where they haven't experienced what it is because everything was given to them. They were set up to succeed.
Exactly. That's the
You
thing.
know, it's like look, my parents didn't set up a college fund for me. There was no like saving for college fund.
And why was that?
Because they were too busy trying to save up to buy a home and to survive as immigrants to the country. I'm an immigrant to this country. Government assistance was part of my life. And I was just talking about that recently where I'm like, like not too long ago I was getting a one-shot deal because I couldn't pay my rent. And I was in welfare, applying and not qualifying because I didn't make enough, but then being hungry.
When was this? How long ago?
That was when I was like entering the health field. Like when I was in college, that I had to take on my own loan, that I had to work, that I had to pay my rent, and I only had enough within that month to pay my rent.
Did you have a child yet?
Yeah, I had a kid.
So you were almost a welfare mother.
No, I was a welfare mother.
welfare mother. So you are the example, the scare. Check it out. Scared America that puts the welfare mother, that we've created this image that it's this person who wants to dupe the system and just pop out babies and
Certain parts
steal.
of America, certain parts.
There's some people that take advantage of it.
Of
And there's some
course.
people
There's
that,
people that take advantage of
that are
everything.
really needed and that don't qualify.
Of course.
So then
Yes.
you're stuck like, what? So what am I going to, okay, so I only have enough to pay my rent and then barely. And then I have to pay other things and buy food. So now I'm behind in my rent. So now I'm 3 months behind in my rent. So now I have, you know how many times I went to J Street for, that's some real stuff. Now that I'm talking about this, I forget, but that's real. Going to J Street in Brooklyn to civil court, to see to the judge, to get him to like break down the rent so that they don't evict me from my apartment. Like, that was my life. And going to school and be like, I'm in college and I had to take a loan.
See, so the point being, going back to what you were saying, people are so broad about like there's no conspiracy or everything is a conspiracy. There's a lot of gray, meaning like you said, you were in a situation where everything was set up for you to fail and you had to go above and beyond any normal sort of workload to make it to where you are. Whereas if you're born into even just my situation, which was upper middle class white America, where my parents weren't rich, but they were fine, I would have had to fuck up so bad to get myself out of the track I was on, which is my parents had always saved money. They had a home that was always paid for, so I could always go home there. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that everyone's set. Like, you're going to jail from birth or you're going to make it from birth, but it's that you're set in opposite paths. So George Bush, the second George Bush, failed his way to the presidency. I mean, Donald Trump basically has failed his way to being president of the United States, whereas someone from the hood whose parents are struggling to make ends meet, they have to do everything in life just to make it to be a good, functional part of society because the odds are just so stacked against
Take it
you.
a step further. Barack Obama, the first president who was black, was raised by white people that were middle class. He didn't even have a regular stereotypical black beginning. And that was our first black highest executive in the land. Process that. He wasn't just a guy from the hood who went to college and had to get an amazing GPA just to get into the right Ivy League school and then go to an Ivy League law thing and then become a community. He opted to become a community organizer, but I'm sure could have did whatever he wanted to.
He was on the path to do other things too.
But chose a path that put him back in a community that he wanted to understand a little bit more, a lot more, and become a part of because that wasn't his reality. His reality was two white grandparents and a white mother in Hawaii. And like, you know what I mean? It was a very different beginning.
And that's what people don't understand. And even growing up in this situation where you're looking at a friend that they're like, oh my God, I'm going to pick colleges. And I'm like, well, damn. I have to go to, not that anything's wrong, I have to go to city college, any city university, any public university, and I got to get a loan for my damn self because I wasn't, my parents never saved that money to pay for that.
And don't qualify for a loan.
They don't.
Matter of fact, may hurt you because their
But that was
credit's so bad.
look, I'm not saying that you have to go to college either. I could have just worked, right? And done whatever. But I wanted that. That's one thing that culturally was instilled. You get whatever, you could do whatever you want, but they cannot take that away from you. Like, my education is what I have.
Well, isn't that the fucked up part too? For everything I just said about how the system is set up for people to fail, and it's so much easier for people who don't have money, for minorities to fail in this country. At the same time, I'll take that experience up against the poor of 98% of the free world, and you're better off here. Meaning, if you do have it in you to do what you did and go above and beyond, you can actually make it somewhere.
I think the piece of it is, in America, is you have this constant pressure as someone who feels like the odds are stacked against them, which they probably are, to be perfect. You can't make any mistakes. And so you're watching kids 13, 14, 15, 16 jump a turnstile, get a citation, turns into a warrant. Then you're in the hood, you get arrested because you jumped a turnstile being a dumbass kid in the city, right? Just being a kid. Kids do dumb shit, which now you're on Rikers because you had a warrant.
Family's too poor to get you out.
Family's too poor. You can't get bail.
Don't have a friend who's a lawyer who does everything to make sure you're set up. Versus you could live in the suburbs, be 16 years old, drinking and driving, God forbid, go out and kill someone, probably do minimum time, everything's taken care of, it gets expunged from your record, and you get to go live a normal life after killing someone. I mean, I'm being serious. That happens. Then they live a normal life. It gets expunged. They had lawyers who were able to take care of it.
And I think that's the piece, and the kind of nuanced piece of, I'm just a kid, bro. Like, I fucked up. Like, can I get another look? And the system is set up where, you don't get another look.
That was like my
Stakes
look
is high.
when I made the choice of having a kid at a young age. It was like, well, nobody told you to be. That's not my problem. I remember class, like in the university, people would say, those were my issues. Like, I can't, like, I would tell the teacher, I didn't want to tell her, never used my situation as an excuse. But hearing people like, I don't want to hear nobody's single parent issue. That's not my choice. You decided to have a kid. No one else, those kind of like, and that pressure to like not let anyone know that you're struggling and that I'm scared because if I get into trouble, I have a green card and God forbid, I hang out with the wrong people or I do something to them. Those are things that I think about when I watch these things. What about if I would have done the choice of like, or the things that we do, we don't get caught and I would have been deported. You have that pressure. And I felt like living here was always pressure. Pressure to be like this type of way.
Oh, it is.
Pressure to like sound a certain way.
Yes.
Pressure to be, not to have an accent. Pressure to be this size. You just want to stuff your face and you're like, I just want to fucking eat. I just want to fucking eat. Let me
That's what it comes down to. Can I have a sandwich? A lot of pressure
Moral
on
of
man.
the story is I just want to eat.
Someone get me a sandwich and a cookie. That's all I need.
No, but that is the American story.
That is it, I
the
know.
American story is I just want to eat. But it is pressure. That is the pressure.
Pressure.
And which is why I'm so hard on people all the time, because my father made the mistakes. My mother made the mistakes. And I was beaten and driven on some like, you will not fuck up. You can't fuck up, right? Most parents don't want to put that pressure on their kids because they just want to have fun. And you live the American dream. If you really want it, it's fucking pressure, bro.
It is.
There's and especially if you're a minority, you got to be perfect. You have to do double the work. And you can say it's unfair, and it is unfair because they are not just giving. The forefathers of the whole American shit, they came over here and they built some shit for them and their family.
Yeah.
And they were going to use a bunch of free and cheap labor to build their fucking fortunes.
Can you imagine if someone had said to them, hey, so one day, what are we going to do with the descendants of all like the black people if they're no longer slaves? They'd be like, what?
Are you crazy?
Wait, we have to worry about, what are you talking about? They wouldn't have even understood that that's someone to think about.
Because to them, though, it's always going to stay the same.
It will all be the same
too.
thing.
What do you mean?
So now when you talk to white people, this is what frustrates me. There are white people out there who are not racist and they're not bad people, but they don't think about that that's the structure of the whole thing. So when you're like, but everything's equal. And it's like, no, it can't be equal.
No,
it
it's
wasn't
not.
designed for these people to even be successful and around. They don't get it. I'm going to try to go talk to these white people.
Please.
Person by person.
We've discovered now that Trump's the president. You're not even really white, bro.
Because Jews are now on alert too.
Yeah.
That's true.
You guys ain't white. It's that you got Jews, you guys go through this a lot. And we
can't
go
say
through
you-
this.
yeah.
I mean, I was
The struggle of being
Isn't it
white or
unbelievable?
not.
Wow,
He's
how
got-
quick.
I know. His
I get to
identity
pick
struggles.
sides. I get to pick sides.
Whenever
pick
he
sides
wants.
all the time.
So I'm always here to call him out.
Fickle.
No, it's just
He
I get to
said,
pick.
You
It's
guys.
called luxury. You guys.
You know,
Because
that's
I don't get to.
good.
I, have
I
to
get
deal
to
with
pick
it.
too, honey. I
I
did
don't
my
get to-
ancestry DNA.
Yeah, wait, you got match shit there?
I have like 39% Mali from Africa. Duh. That's obvious. Iberian Peninsula, like 40%.
Spain and Portugal.
France, actually. My great grandfather was from
France,
France, honey, which I'm super Samoa. I was like, oh shit, I'm fucking French.
I'm super Samoa. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
I'm fucking French is
Yo,
crazy.
look up her family when you go to Paris.
They ain't really white either.
Exactly.
They not really white either.
And that was, but I want to go to Mali. I'm like 2% Jew. Yeah,
Really?
I have some Jew. I need a Jewish last name.
That'll be
You
lit.
always need a Jew on your team, honey.
Dascha Polanco.
Hello.
I know I got one.
You know what I'm saying?
Polanco.
Palankenberg.
No, she needs a third name. It would be she'd keep the Polanco. And then
Polanco.
You don't
Another
want to
name.
combine it? And make a new last
Palankenberg.
name?
That's not
Palankenberg.
how it works.
Palankenstein.
I like a Steen. I
You like a Steen?
Take a stand?
Yeah, I
I'll
like
get you a stand. I'll get you a stand tomorrow.
I
By
like a
noon
Steen.
tomorrow, I'll have a stand for you. We're right here.
Dascha Steen. You know what I mean? Like it goes well with
Yeah, that's nice.
Palankenstein.
But yeah, you're not white.
No. Oh, me. Thank you.
Yeah, you know.
You should
I
do
appreciate
ancestry
that.
DNA though.
I heard something weird that they end up keeping your
Yeah,
DNA.
but
and that
look,
freaked me
okay,
out. I was like, I don't know about
No,
that.
they keep
but
your
there's
DNA.
there's ways
They
about.
absolutely have your DNA.
Yeah, they do. Okay, well,
When
who
you talk-
doesn't? What do you think? When you go to the doctor, they don't send that to the lab and they don't have the DNA?
Facts. Or when you have a
Every
baby and your
biopsy,
placenta come out, they have
every
your DNA.
biopsy that they take from you, it goes to what do you call it? CDC
Mm-hmm.
or the Control Disease,
Center of Disease Control, yeah.
and they keep your biopsy.
They studying.
So I mean, yeah,
I got.
you need more Dashas in the world, anyways. So,
Facts.
You having more babies?
Yes, I want to have two.
2 more.
Two
Twins,
more.
boys.
Are you gonna
boys.
plan
Wow.
it? Like you
Okay.
gonna, because you can plan and pay and plan these things.
Yeah, but I don't know. But that's what I'm putting out there in the universe.
Oh, but you want to do it naturally. Because he's
Yeah.
being, nowadays
That's what I
you
would
can,
like. But obviously, I only drop one egg, so genetically. I
Right.
think.
That's how. Well, yeah, but it's not. It's not
But
up
it's
to
like
the
a trend. That's why it happens now so often, right? That people just do it genetically. In
Yeah,
vitro,
well, and also when people get help in vitro in general for pregnancy,
or take like
it ups,
over ovulation.
it
so
ups
that,
the chances for twins. Yes.
Yeah. it's
Dasha
so crazy.
Polanco, ladies and gentlemen of Orange is the New Black. We always love
Yes.
having you on the show. People
love
are
you
attracted
guys.
to you. They will be DMing
Yes.
you dick pics after this conversation.
Yes.
New season out now.
Tongue went out.
Yo,
Well,
her PR,
get to yourself.
her PR person
Vanessa,
can't deal.
When she complains, when
she's
she complains
pacing
about
back
the
and
dicks,
forth.
just say you did that. You did that.
Dasha Polanco.
Yes. Love you guys.
Love you too.